This short video will include a filter action in a spreadsheet and will also show you how to sort data. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the data that I'm going to be working with here is the Western United States wind data. We can see that we have lots of information on wind speeds across many stations in the Western United States. There are several hundred here. This information is broken out by month. So you can see that we have data in January, February, all the way across through December here. Now what I'm going to do is apply a filter action to a summary. So I'm going to first create that summary, and I'm just going to use the average wind speed across the year or throughout the year for each weather station. So let's go over here to this sheet and do that. So to obtain that average, I'm just going to type equal average. And then I'm going to specify cells C2 through N2. Those are the wind measurements for that first weather station. And we can see that my average here is 6.55 miles per hour. So the average wind speed throughout the year is 6.55 for this particular weather station. Now if I want to compute that average for all weather stations, what I'm going to do is come back over to the cell where I put that formula. In the lower right hand corner, okay, you can see where my cursor is at there. In that lower right hand corner of that, just double click and that'll autofill all of the remaining rows. So this will do this for all the weather stations, and it'll do this all the way down to the end here for me. So that double click action automatically or autofills those cells for me. If you want to round these measurements, what I can do is highlight that entire column, and then I think it's underneath format, number, and then I can specify number here, and that will round those measurements for me. Okay, so now how do I apply a filter? So first, what I'm going to do is just highlight the columns that I would like the filter to be applied to. So I'm going to highlight all of the data that I have here, and then I'm going to go underneath data and then create a filter. And you can see what happens is that I get these little drop down arrows for each column that I've highlighted here. Okay, so how do filters work? A filter will allow you to just look at a certain element or part of your data. So for example, maybe I want only information from Wyoming. So I could click on the filter for state, and then here I can specify only Wyoming. Okay, so you can see all of the states have been selected. I can clear those. So now if I click OK, actually nothing will be shown because my filter hasn't been applied to anything. I said I wanted the observations from Wyoming, so I'm going to go ahead and select Wyoming and then say OK. And you can see that the rows 427, okay, that's where Wyoming started. Okay, so now you can see that these states all have just Wyoming information in them, and that looks like rows 427 through 446. The other rows just got hidden from me because they weren't for the state of Wyoming. If I want to apply that filter to all the rows, or I want to include all of the states, I would just say select all on that and then go back to OK, and then I'm back to my original data set with all of the rows. So let's suppose that I wanted to get the weather stations for which the average wind speed was greater than, say, 15 or something. Okay, so that's going to be kind of hard to page through all of these rows and try to locate those, but I can apply a filter to that. So let's go ahead and do a filter over here on average. This time I'm going to be selecting a filter by condition. You're going to have to specify the condition here. So I want this to be greater than or equal to, we can do either one of those. So I'm picking greater than or equal to, and then I need 15 here. And then go ahead and say OK. And what that's going to do is show me the weather stations for which the average wind speed throughout the year is greater than 15 miles per hour. So you can see that many of the rows are missing here. So where is row 22 at here? Well, 22 did not have a wind speed greater than 15 miles per hour. Now, once you narrow down your entire list here of rows, you can see that Alaska tends to have many of the higher wind speeds compared to the other states. There is one Hawaii in here, a couple in Colorado, and one in Montana. But Alaska has most of those weather stations where the average wind speed throughout the entire year was greater than 15. So let's go ahead and turn off. Maybe you want to turn off all of the filters now. Okay, so to do that, you can go under Data and just say Turn Off Filter, and that should turn all the filters off on your sheet. Real quickly, let's show you how to sort. So suppose I wanted the average wind speeds to be sorted from largest to smallest. What I'm going to do here is, again, select all of my data, go underneath Data, and then do a sort on a range. Now my data has headers in it, so I have labeled each one of my columns. So I can say data has a header row here. And what that's going to do is identify what columns to be sorting by. So here I want to do a sort on the average column. And then I need to specify, do you want that in ascending or descending order? And I will do this in descending order so that the highest wind speeds are listed on the top of my table. And then say sort. And now I can see that the values for the average have been sorted. Okay, and they are the location, with the highest wind speed here is Alaska, Tin City Airport. Now, when you are doing sorting, you want to make sure and highlight all of those rows, all of those columns. So when I started this, I highlighted columns A all the way through O over here. You don't want to sort just one column, okay, because if I sort just the average column, then that's not going to be lined up with the appropriate station and the state. So when you're doing sorting, you want to be very careful to select all of the columns when you're sorting. Okay, that does it for creating a filter and sorting in a spreadsheet. Thank you.